Morning. Good morning. It's very inspiring. Right, yeah. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Unity Center of Des Moines. I am Stevie Wayne, and I'm so glad that you are here. I think I recognize everyone here in person today, but maybe you're joining us online for the very first time. And just know that Unity Center of Des Moines is a diverse community that welcomes you just as you are and honors your unique spiritual journey. Let's begin with song. This one may be a familiar one. I think it was in the hymnal. And the lyrics are going to be up on screen, and we love it when you all sing along. We must together, we must together in unity and love. We must together, we must together in love. Each one different from the other. One great atmosphere. We must together, we must together in unity and love. We must together, we must together in love. Instruments playing our melodies, each one tuning to a different beat. In one great symphony, we must together, we must together in unity and love. We must together, we must together, together in love. Yes. Yes, round of applause for our music team. Deb and Susan bringing it every week. And what a beautiful message that we all have a place and all belongs. So I have more than one side of announcements. Starting with Spirit Seekers Fair is less than 1 month away. There are a couple back on the little table, but the main flyers that we need help distributing throughout town, handing out to your friends, inviting as many people in person as you can, Those are in the community room on the ledge. Also in the community room on the ledge are signups for the upcoming Power of Your Word prayer class that's going to be starting October 26th. And it is a 6-week commitment. It's before the service from 9 to 10 a.m. with our dear Judy, who is a certified science of mind. Is it practitioner? Yes. And if you're wondering, well, what's that? You can ask Judy those questions, and the roots of unity and science of mind all came from the same place, and it's just branches of the same tree because we're all one. So it's a specific structure for affirmative prayer that she's going to be teaching, and then each week is going to build on the last. So there's a little printout over on that ledge and a sign up for that. So if that's calling to you, please join us. It's going to be a wonderful time. And then if you come, then you can be part of the Unity Center to One Prayer Ministry that we've been talking about at our community discussions, and really get something even more formal. And it's evolving. We're open to experiences. November 16th is the annual meeting and next potluck date. So last week I misspoke and I said it was a different date. That was another timeline. The real date that's going to be on the calendar and that we're actually going to execute is November 16th. So we'll have a potluck to help celebrate the Thanksgiving season. And then at the annual meeting, we'll specifically go through the financials of the last fiscal year so everybody knows what's going on. And then members have an opportunity to officially vote on things. So we're going to get things in line and watch the newsletter for the agenda. And if you have something specific you want on the agenda, if you could please text the Unity cell phone, email, or put something in the box in the back. We want to hear from you. If you haven't noticed, things change when people speak up and speak their truth and ask for things. Then, just as a little announcement, Saturday, December 6th, we're going to have our first art fair. So yeah, clap your hands for that. Put some feelers out, got a nudge, and got this response. So I'll open up that registration as soon as we solidify the Spirit Seekers Fair coming up in October. And I've already got like 10 people that want to do the art fair, and we haven't even opened registration yet. So excited about what that can be. And if you want to be a part of that, if you create something or write something or want to have share your music, please let me know and watch for that registration because I know it's going to fill up quick.
And what is that date again?
December 6th. It's the first Saturday in December, with the idea that it'll help people get gifts, local artist gifts for the holiday season, and just be in a celebratory time. Okay, so any celebrations? I want to give us time for that. Yeah, go ahead, Jody.
I got all of my medical debt forgiven.
I am so grateful. Look at that smile on your face.
Worked my behind off.
You did it. You put in the step. That message has been coming through to me in so many ways, and I want to emphasize it now. Faith and action. One without the other, you're missing a piece. So all action and no faith, you're missing a piece. All faith, no action, you're missing. So you had both, and yay. Absolutely awesome. Yeah, go ahead.
I have a gratitude thing.
You have gratitude.
I'm grateful for this community. I have a work situation that was very hard hit on Friday. And I'm not going into the details of it, but this is a community that values inclusion and empathy.
Yeah.
Kindness, respect, diversity, and that oneness. And it is so important to me. And it has been so empowering for me because I need to go in on Monday feeling supported and strong.
Yeah.
And to keep that light bright. And this community really helps me. So I wanted to thank you all.
Oh, thank you, Susan. Oh, can we have a round of applause just to solidify that? Loving each other. there's lots of tough stuff happening to lots of people on personal and worldwide events, and we need community in each other more than ever, and this positive mindset to keep going one step in front of the other. Any other celebrations before I move on? Okay. So we've got this week's starting with today, this afternoon is the second of the Intro to Unity new member class is noon, or is it noon? Yes. 12:30 to 1:30, or noon to 1. Noon to 1. Noon to 1 in the community room. Afterwards, there's snacks just like usual, but then we ask people to clear out of the community room by noon so we can get that going. And then tomorrow, the fourth video in the series, A Force More Powerful, will be here in the sanctuary at 6:30 p.m. That is a no charge event, but donations towards the space are welcome. Thursday, October 2nd, is the monthly Common Thread meeting, which is also a no charge but donation based event. And Dr. Janine Ambrose, she was more about her in the newsletter that went out this week. She's going to be the speaker at that Common Thread meeting. Then next Sunday, October 5th at 5:15 is Kirtan. So when we sang Sanskrit chants, that's part of what goes on in the Kirtan circle. That's with Deb Jennings. And then the full moon gong meditation, also with Sanskrit soul by Deb Jennings, is also October 5th at 6:30. So you can do one or both of those events, and pricing details and instructions on ordering cacao if applicable. Those are all on the calendar, in the newsletter, and also on the Facebook events. So check all that out. That's not all. On Monday, October 6th, is a no charge event to support any woman in recovery. A certified life coach named Alina Rossellini is the one leading that. She Recovers is a national movement with a certain structure specifically targeted toward women in any kind of recovery, from grief to addiction to domestic abuse, all the things. She says we're probably all recovering from something. So all women are welcome to that. And that is going to be also October 6th at, I think it's 6 p.m. 6:30 p.m. It's in the newsletter and on the calendar. And then our regular events like midday meditation at noon on Tuesday, Tai Chi on Wednesday, all that good stuff. You can read about those on the calendar or the newsletter. So I told you, some announcements. And thank you for all your sharing and celebrating. Let's see, how about we do our affirmation? If we can read this all together. There is only one power active in my life and in the universe, the divine source of all life and love. Next, the unity affirmation. And as we say this together, we could really drop into the feeling of oneness that connects us all. Unity of Des Moines is a radiating center of the divine light, mighty to attract its good and to radiate good to others. And with that goodness in mind, whatever body position feels right for you, cleanse your energy, relax into your chair, and I'm going to read the names of people to keep in special prayers this week. Alexander, Brittany, Carla, Seal, Deja, Dennis, Dawn, Deb and family, Denny, DJ, Jennifer, Karen, Christina, Laura, Mary, Sarah and family, Celine, Scott, Sharon, Victoria, and people with struggles we know nothing about. If you would like your name on this list, or you would like prayers on your behalf by the prayer team, if you could please put your request in that box in the back of the room under the painting, we'll make sure that we have targeted prayers for you. The daily word for today is taken from Psalm chapter 27, verse 4, which says, "One thing I asked of the Lord that I will seek after, to live in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord." When I am fully present in life, I find beauty everywhere. Looking up at the shimmering stars, walking through a field of marigolds, or sitting by the ocean, I rejoice with the beauty of nature. It is truly a wonderful world. The beauty that delights my senses also lives in me. The presence of God does not just surround me, it is within me also. My divine gifts, along with my talents and unique abilities, make me a beautiful and integral part of the world. When I live in the fullness of divinity, the expression of my humanity is simply beautiful. I am a radiant spiritual being, an individuation of the divine. I honor the presence of God within myself and in all others. We are beautiful. The affirmation that goes along with this, I'll say it once and then if we can all say it together, is this: the world becomes beautiful when I find God in it. The world becomes beautiful when I find God in it. All right, with that in mind, let's have another song. Again, the lyrics will be up on the screen. I listen to the song of the wind, it has no name. I listen to the song of the wind, it has no words. I listen to the song and I can see the wind is free, the wind is free. I listen to the song of the sky, it has no name. I listen to the song of the sky, it has no name. I listen to the song of the sky, and I can see the sky is free. The sky is free. I listen to the song of the moon, it has no name. I listen to the song of the moon, it has no words. I listen to the song and I can see the moon is free. The moon is free. And I am free. I am free.
love that.
Yes, can we have a round of applause? We are free. And a little tip on stress reduction, go outside and listen to the sounds. Without further ado, I would like to welcome our beloved Paul Kellogg. Please give him a round of applause. He is going to be talking about the greatest story ever told and most not yet told, but I think he's fantastic. So, Paul, come up and guide us through today.
I love to tell the story of Jesus and his glory, of Jesus and his love. I love to tell the story because I know it's true. It satisfies my longings as nothing else to do. Thank you. Well, I have a reason for starting out with that, because today is about stories, and boy, the attunement, the divine attunement that's going on today, the daily word, the music, all these things that line up with who we are, why we're here on this great planet, what our story is. But one of the great stories, and I know you all know this because it's a little piece of why we're sitting in this room today. I want to take you back a couple thousand years ago. Imagine that you're in a very arid climate. There's a little water over here, a little water over there. Your house is a mud brick house with a flat roof. You eat leeks and beans and onions and unleavened bread. You walk around in sandals and robes. It's a very different time than what we have today. And out of that time, there was this young man who shows up, 12 or 13 years old. He comes from a family, his father was a carpenter. He actually was apprenticing to be a carpenter. That's usually the way it worked. The young men apprentice with their fathers in their trade. But there's something about this kid. He seems to be wise. When he sits with the elders and the leaders of the community, they're amazed at his awareness of the canon law, of the Jewish, the Hebrew, the Islam, and that kind of faith, not Islamic, that's another story. Yeah, of that faith. They're just really amazed at him. And people write stories about it. They write down their experiences on little pamphlets and little cuneiform things and so on. They record what they remember. That's the way stories were passed on. They just do word mouth, orally, so on. What we don't know is what happened after he was 12 or 13 years old. There's no story for that. Then all of a sudden the story begins again. He's about 30. And he's traveling. He's going from his Airbnbs to his bed and breakfast. He's sleeping with people, getting their meals. He's teaching. He's helping people with this kind of wisdom about what God is. They're intrigued because they have been very aware for a long time of the oppression that they have felt. Roman occupation, all these kinds of things are going on. People are wanting salvation. They're wanting a Messiah. They're wanting somebody to show up that can lead the way and give them healing and give them hope, right? Well, he has that message. He has those words. Yeah. He talks about render Caesar unto Caesar, and render God what is God's. He talks about he who is out without sin, let him cast the first stone. Yeah. Take the log out of your eye before you try to take the speck out of somebody else's. And if you're not as little children, you're not going to enter the kingdom of heaven. Wow, those are concepts that kind of are unique to the day. And it challenges a lot of people. It challenges the traditions. It challenges the energies of the standards of what is normal there. And so there are people that get upset by that. There are people that start talking about the other sides of the story. Well, this guy's a rabble rouser. This guy is somebody that I don't know if we want in our community. And eventually we all know the story and how that goes and so on. What's amazing about that story is how it evolved. People wrote about it, all kinds of different writings. We have 4 books in the Bible. There are hundreds of books, hundreds of little writings about all of that. The disciples went out and they preached this gospel of this amazing wisdom that this guy had. Little by little, things started to move out and move more and more. And little groups of people started to connect together to pray or to espouse what this man's name, that, his name wasn't Jesus at that time, it was Yeshua. Later on, that morphed into Lessus in Greek, Latin, and so on. They didn't have the J sound back all those years ago. When it started to do English, they started adapting that to what we have Jesus today. So here was this guy they talked about. They had little gatherings just like this. They had their little things. Maybe somebody played the lute, someone played the harp. They had all these little things. They had music. They had probably a song leader, right? Same stuff. So over 200-300 years, this was growing and expanding dynamically, profoundly. The Romans did not know what to do with this because it was beginning to usurp what they believe and what they teach, and they were trying to stay in charge of all this land all over the Middle East and so forth. Well, at a certain point, about 300, 320 BC, there was an emperor named Constantine. And he had bought into this religion. Don't know why he did it, but he bought into it a little bit. Maybe it was out of self-preservation. He needed to decide what he was going to do. But because there was all this energy all over the place, he had really no room over it. He could not command all that because everybody was doing their thing. So what he decided to do was to rally all of these rabbis together in Nicaea. And there were over 200 of them that came. And his admonition to them was, let's come up with something that's standard. Something that we can all believe and that we can all take back and so on. And gradually, over time, they had their own version of ChatGPT. It was 200 of them. And they were all trying to put their little thing in there and this and that. And out of that came this great message. I am the light and I am the way. Unless you come up by me, you can't enter the kingdom of heaven. All these things. They even voted to make Jesus divine. At that time, he was a prophet. He was just some guy that was creating stuff. So they created him as divine, and then they also created this thing that if you wanted to connect to the divine, you had to go through the emperor. The emperor had the great connection, and that carried on for centuries. The kings, all those kinds of things would happen. So here's this story that continues to grow and evolve and expand. It morphs the Catholic Church. People didn't like some of that. They didn't like the fact that the Pope was in charge of everything. So Martin Luther decides he's going to create something different. He's going to have a unique way of expressing what this man taught, which has now become Christianity, right? So over time, here's this guy walking around having little groups of people sitting on stones. They didn't have chairs like this or sanctuary. They just had stones, little rocks to sit on and so forth. Gradually, the crowds get bigger. Gradually, the sects grow. The king and emperor give it a thumbs up. This is okay. Pretty soon, there's enough people growing that you have to have buildings to cover up the people out of the elements. Pretty soon, you have to have an administration that runs all that. right? Pretty soon you have to have money to be able to make all that work. Pretty soon you have the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is now 1.4 billion people, 1.4 billion who work with that story. There are another billion people who are some kind of Christians. 2.4 billion people, that's almost a third of the population, resonate out of that story of this little boy who had wisdom that astounded some of his elders. It's an amazing story. Islam did the same thing. Muhammad, there are now 2 billion Muslims. There are over 1 billion Hindus. It all came out of stories. It all came out of energies of people just getting out and sharing what it is that they feel inspired to share. And they connect together. How many of you have, when Michael's been up here, you've resonated with what Michael said, right?
Right.
The story, his sharing, his giving of that. Stevie, when she comes up, resonate with all of that. Some people don't. They may not come back again. That's great. There's other places you could go because there's all kinds of stories being told out there. So part of the message today is the story that we have. What's our story? And I'm going to share a little bit of mine. I started out as a child.
Really?
Yes, it was an amazing experience. Started out as a child. I was very precocious. I love nature. I love my frogs. I love my turtles. I love my pond. Love the snakes. I loved everything.
Yeah.
Really pissed me off when our housekeeper cut the head off of my snake because she thought that it was going to bite me. She didn't know. She didn't know what was going on. But it lived out behind our house, and I always knew where it was, and when it would come out, I would sit there and watch it, and so forth. I was a great athlete. I love sports. Terrific athlete. Had a lot of confidence when I was on the baseball field, and so on. The thing that was a piece of my story that I really had to grow in and out of was my self-consciousness, my self-awareness and acceptance of myself. I was a beanpole. You know, my friends used to say, Paul turned sideways and stuck out his tongue, he looked like a zipper. So I was very self-conscious of this. I'm very, very self-conscious. Here are these kids, you know, junior high school, walking around in their gym shorts, you know, these muscular legs and all that. And here's my little, you know, sticks, you know, going down there like that. And I used to actually wear sweatpants at 90 degrees because we had to put our gym shorts on. So I would pull those on. But and plus the girls were watching us at track, you know, and I'm just so embarrassed by that energy, right? Very self-conscious of all of that. As I grew and found this awareness of my intuitions and my sensitivities, which I'd had since I was a very young child, very aware of things that were unexplainable, mystical, and so on. A lot of times I had a hard time explaining all that. That was another aspect of this lack of self-acceptance. I didn't know how to communicate all that. I told my best friend he was going to break up with his girlfriend. They did 2 weeks later, and he blamed me for it because he felt I caused it.
Oh.
How would I know that, right? So I would kind of pull in on all that, not speak out. And there were always these guys and girls too, who just were very strong in their opinions. They were very powerful in, you know, the way that they expressed their convictions. And I always kind of tend to mold myself into all that because I wanted that kind of acceptance. When I got older, my father passed on when I was 16, and we had psychic experiences about a lot of dreams and that were coming true, things like that. My mother took me to a lecture. There was an organization called the Inner Peace Movement that actually grew very big, went all over the world. And they talked about how I'm a soul with a physical body, not a physical body with a soul. I'm an energy. I'm an intelligent life force. And I was sitting there, I was listening, I was 16 years old, and I was getting these goosebumps.
Hmm.
There was something about this message that was making me feel better about myself. I stopped thinking about what I looked like and started thinking more about who I am, the beingness of me. I have guidance. There's different ways to communicate. There's no, in that lecture, there's no greater or lesser than people. It's just people. So that message was very inspiring to me. A couple of years after I heard that, I went to a youth camp down here in Osceola, and it's powerful. It changed my life. We talked about being able to share that message with other people. And I decided I wanted to do that. I didn't even know consciously why I was doing that. I just went with the flow of it. And I gave my first lecture when I was 19, my first radio show. Two little old ladies showed up. And they walked in with their canes. And I mean, it was, okay, well, this is interesting. I was supposed to talk for an hour and a half. And I got done, went down my watch, and I talked for 15 minutes. And what do I do with the rest of that hour? They paid the $1 to hear me talk, right? So I felt obligated. I said, well, do you have any questions? Of course, they did have questions because I hadn't said really very much, right? And an hour later, we got done, and they stood up, and some of you heard this before. They stood up, came up to me, and they shook my hand. Said, Mr. Kellogg, first of all, I'm 19, and they called me Mr. That was really cool right there, right? A little self-esteem build. Mr. Kellogg, that was wonderful. We want to thank you for sharing with us today. Good luck in your work.
Oh.
They walked out and I never saw them again. But that led me to have this feeling that at least there's something that I can really do, that I can be confident in. And that became my career, traveling all over the country, especially. I've done 1,000 radio and TV interviews and so on. In the midst of all of that, feeling confident, being here, up here, talking and so on, there was still that lack of acceptance when I was around other people who had that expression of authority. I still had to work on that. And gradually over time, I began with the messages like what are being expressed here. Gradually over time, I began to release and let go of any of that kind of self-recrimination. Starting to just really believe truly in myself that I am unique. There's no one else like me. Why would I want to compare myself to anybody? And that leads me into what is our stories? What are our stories? What's your story? What are you still living as an outer story being presented to you? For give you an example. How many of you, when you were little, you found mom and dad, they would tell you you shouldn't do this and you had to do that and so on, right?
Mhm.
And we all had that, right? That's the way we're taught. But that served to create a story. Some of us said maybe, well, I'm not good enough, or I'm a pain in the butt, right? Or I don't have time for you, which means later on I'll say I don't have time for myself. So I stopped taking care of myself. I'm looking for outside energy to take care of me. A relationship. My husband's going to take care of me, or my wife is going to take care of me, so on and so forth. So we start crafting our stories based on the influences that are around us. We also craft our story based on what we do see is good that we do. You do a project in school and you win a yellow ribbon. Not the red ribbon, not the blue ribbon. It's a yellow ribbon, but you won a ribbon. That becomes this feeling of maybe there is something good for me. Maybe there is something that I can do. So a piece of the conversation today is, what story do I want to live by? Is it the story that was created for me or in part for me? Or is it the story of what the Daily Word talked about? I am freaking beautiful. There's nobody else like me on planet Earth.
That's right.
There's nobody else like me out in the universe. I am amazing. I am awesome for who I am, just as myself. all of its imperfections as well. My mentor, when we were walking down this conference center down in Osceola, he picked up an acorn. I was telling this to Stevie the other day. He picked up an acorn and put it in the hand. He said, "Paul, what is that?" I said, "Well, it's an acorn. It's a little nut, and deers come and eat it. And, squirrels hoard it and stuff like that." He said, "No, it's an oak tree." Oh, right. It's an oak tree. It's just having a little growing, learning experiences to become a bigger oak tree. We're all oak trees. Every one of us is an oak tree. I don't care where we are. I can tell you from experience that all of those things that have ever happened to me are pieces of who I am today, and I wouldn't change anything. All the stuff, my father passing on. That's funny to say that, because why wouldn't I want to have my father longer? But looking back on it now, it was a thing that I personally needed to experience and go through. So the laws of attraction as a soul attracted me into that relationship that my mother and father were creating. There's a whole lot of energy that we put together before we even come to this planet. What do we want to do? What do we want to accomplish? We find people to make a physical body for us so that we can anchor ourselves here as soul to learn and grow. Planet Earth is a great school, and we're here to learn and grow. If you want to change your story, start looking at your experiences from the valuable lessons and gems of wisdom that they actually offer you. That's what changed me, is looking, okay, so what did I learn from my father passing on? What did I learn from 10 years ago, my sister passing on, young, 57 years old? What did I learn from that? Because if I can learn from it and I can take the value of it, that becomes a priceless piece of my energy that then I can help other people with and share with. Does that make sense? What I'm talking about?
Yes.
So here's the way to do that. What were the highlights of that experience? What was fulfilling about it? Well, I got through it. I got through that. Oh, that was great. Pat on the back, right? What did I learn? If I could change anything, would I do anything different? And what would that be? That's called self-acceptance. And our good friend Stevie said to me the other day, we were doing some engagements, and she said, "I'm working on radical self-acceptance." And Stevie, just in a nutshell, 2 or 3 sentences, what does radical self-acceptance mean to you?
It means accepting all the things, the full gamut of my feelings and who I am and how I show up, and then making conscious decisions of what I want to do more of and what I might want to turn the volume down on, but accepting all as it is.
Give her a hand. Isn't that great? Can we all stand a little bit of that?
Yeah.
Get a little bit radical? Or we're going to accept, okay, I'm going to accept 77.5%. The other 25%, I hate it, I don't like it, pisses me out. I'm never going to accept that and forgive myself for that.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. Or am I going to go whole? Another version of faith in action is confidence in action. I need to start just feeling me inside and being confident that I am who I am.
Mhm.
And I'm going to do something about it. So I want to show you a few other people that I've come in contact with that I'm just astounded. Many of you know that Susan and my daughter Son and I started this Facebook group called Empowered Soul Network. That now has over 9,000, close to 9,000 members in it. People that are just resonating with that empowered soul idea. And the reason why I'm talking about that is because I've interviewed now hundreds of people all over the world. We do like 20-minute interviews just to help them tell their story, showcase themselves, who they are and what they do. If any of you want to be on that, I would love to interview you. Everybody's different. Sometimes the message are the same, so similar or parallel, but the messenger is so different and attracts different people to resonate with that. So it's been profound to me. It has made me way more humble about what is happening out in this world and valuing everyone's opinions and thoughts and ideas because they represent a unique individual and a unique story. As Pope Francis said when asked about, does the church condone LGBTQ or whatever, there was something going, he said, who am I to judge? That's a bigger picture there. Who am I to say what was right or wrong? So for me, it's made me very humble and realizing all of the masses of people out there that are giving it a shot to help other people. Life coaches, mentors, trainers, healers, you name it. It's incredible. So Devin's going to help me show a few slides here. I just want you to see a few of these stories. This lady, Cecily Henderson, she lives in Memphis, Tennessee. She is a two-time cancer survivor.
Wow.
She is a survivor of breast implant disease. She has been a part of a collection of groups, Facebook groups and other groups of over 50,000 women who are addressing that idea. And when she gets on and shares her story, she always has the positive take on it. Here's what happened for me. And she's now created a Facebook group and some other things of over 6,500 people. It's called Hope for Healing. You can't really read that there, but she introduced it. She does seminars on all of those kinds of things. But she's been on her deathbed many times, but here she is rising up like the phoenix out of that to help and be of service. Go ahead, next one, Devin. Mer Syed, she is from Pakistan. 3 years ago, I think it was 3 years ago, she lost her husband, passed on. She had deep grief, still is. She has created a group, it's called the Grief Circle. And I know we've had a couple of people talk about grief here and so on, it's great. But she has women from all over the world that come together to connect and be a part of a flame of continuation. I interviewed her. What an amazing, I felt healed. I was dreaming about anything. And I felt healed by listening to her talk. I was uplifted by all that. Next one. Carla Hooker. She is a sickle cell disease survivor, but it continues. She's a pain a lot. She is known as the kids dance specialist. She helps kids all over North Carolina to just get into their feelings and be able to have the confidence by having movement in their life. Many of her kids have gone on to lots of recognition, Olympic athletes, people in governments and in medicines. She's also written a book called The Change. And I can't read that other one, I can't remember what it is, but it's a book about something. I'm not ordinary, and neither are you. I ain't ordinary, I think she says it, and neither are you. Amazing person, such a giver. Tremendous. She volunteered to be on the school board, which is a big giant headache for her, but she wants to help children. So she's going to get in there and help them. Next one. David Meltzer. David Meltzer is a multimillionaire. He is well known in the speaking circles, probably in the top 10 of Forbes magazine's best speakers. He lost his millions because he was a drunk, he was arrogant, he didn't treat people well, and it rocked his life. His family almost left him. He decided, if I'm going to stay alive, I need to make a change. Yeah. He made a change. He started to become very spiritually oriented. He started to look into the frequencies of life. He's made his millions back, but he's putting all of that into a mission to help 1 billion people find happiness. And I've interviewed him twice, he's on his way. He is the CEO of the sports management company that a man named Reed Steinberg started. And that was the basis for the movie Jerry Maguire. Huh. Remember Jerry Maguire?
Yep.
Help me help you.
Yes.
Show me money, right? That's David Meltzer. Next. Who is that? Kevin. What a story. I mean, here's a young man challenged in school left and right. He is now his own semi-truck driver. He travels all over the eastern part of the United States. I think Stevie, he told me he carries things on his truck that oftentimes other truckers don't want to do.
Right.
Don't want to carry. What a story. You want to learn about life? Talk to Kevin. It'll be a great experience for you. Next. Sue Romo, she's not here today,
Yeah.
but she's a member of Unity. She was rated one of the top 100 most influential people by Times Magazine in 2011. She's a member of this church. The Bonobo Project was south of the zoo, by Fort Des Moines, that whole area. She's no longer directly engaged in it, but she's the one that found out that Kanzi, the bonobo chimp, could actually communicate. And she set up over 250 different visualizations in this way that he could poke a picture and a series of pictures and tell her what he wanted, tell her what was going on. It was astounding work. Sue's an amazing person. And she's taken that story and just morphed it into examples of what we can really do. Next. And
Yeah.
I couldn't resist this.
Babies.
T. Manning, single mom Hillary, raising 4 astonishing, amazing children. If you want to know if there's any stories inside of all that, just ask Hillary. I know that because my spouse Susan also is the mother of 4 daughters and 1 son, and I can tell you she could write an encyclopedia of stories about what takes place in life with kids and everything else. Bigger part of all that. So that's one, Kevin. So let's take a look at this real quick. What is your story? What's your story? I want you to take a moment and I want you to think of the things that have led you to progress as a person, the positive sides of things, what you've learned, whatever that might be. And I want you to summarize that in a phrase or a sentence, as though it's a title of a book. And it can be anything. And you can change it as soon as you have your pen thumb. Or just brainstorming. What is that phrase or sentence that might describe even a piece of your story? When you have one, raise your hand. Now, I knew Mike was gonna be the first one. All right, Mike, what's the title of your story?
Welcome home.
There you go. Jody?
I'm a survivor.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Here. Say your name too.
My name's Clayton. I am Brazilian.
Yeah.
All right. Who else? Come on, give me some more. Dig in.
Normal is a setting on the dryer.
That's the best seller right there. Those catchy little fun things, and it's also the creativity of this is me coming out, right? But Brazilian, all those things. Yeah.
The current one is love. What's strong with Susan?
Yay.
That's a good one because Susan's mantra, she's written about it. It's not what's wrong with Susan, it's what's strong with Susan.
Yeah.
Because she grew up with illnesses and what's wrong with Susan? We
Yeah.
can't figure it out. What's wrong? There's something wrong with Susan. Oh my God. Can you imagine living that through high school and even having children and you're still thinking that? There must be something wrong. It's just an opportunity to find a solution.
Yep.
When I'll tell you this last little story for me. When I was growing up, one of my chores was to milk a cow in the morning and in the evening when I got back. Well, my friend, he really wasn't a friend, but I had to deal with him because he was always around. Tommy, he was kind of a rough and tumble, bigger guy than me. He was always teasing me, always harassing, sometimes wrestling me to the ground, and so on. Well, he would come into the barn and he would try and scare the cow, make fun, and so it would tip the milk over. He was just a rabble rouser. But there was this particular knothole behind me that he would peek in like this and start doing weird things and making noises and all that. Well, I thought, God, I hate this. I thought, I That's not too far away. So I took the little tea thing, right?
Oh,
I started squirting the knothole. And I got really good at it. So after I practiced for a few days, Tommy comes around and I just go, hit him right in the eye. Never bothered me again. Solutions. Take that opportunity that's bugging you and find something to do something about it. So we can change our story. We can allow other people to make it. We can have our own Catholic church if we want, or we can be ourselves, not let anybody else's opinions or ideas or thoughts or anything impact how I am going to be out there in the world. My mentor said many times, I don't try and treat everybody the same. I'm not trying to work it out with them. I am the same with everyone. I'm just going to be me.
yeah.
And not apologize for it, not do anything about it. And my life is valuable. Whatever it is, when you're a grandma and the kids come and tell them a little story, whatever it is, read them a story, stories around the world. So how are we going to impact that with ourselves? Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. Yes, I know. Thank you so much, Paul. If you would like to share your resources with Unity Center of Des Moines, now is your opportunity to do so. And just know that whatever you are able to contribute is greatly appreciated. If you're like me and don't carry cash, or maybe you're joining us online, we can accept donations through Venmo at Unity-Des Moines. And we can also accept donations via Zelle at info@unitydesmoines.com email. So whatever your contributions are, whether physical, financial, energetic, or I don't know what other things, level, we want to offer this affirmation. I am infinitely abundant, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I thankfully acknowledge the divine source.
This is a work in progress.
Look, technical things going on here.
Yeah, well, I may have to say, let me see.
Is it hot?
No,
Let's grab a chair.
yeah. We're not.
Here, right there.
Anyway, this song is one of our favorites. It has such a joyful feeling to it. It just reminds me that my whole life is really about being able to enjoy and celebrate being myself and the freedom I have to be when I just say, hey, yeah, that's my reality. So it's called The Happy Wanderer. If you've ever been in a camp, you probably sang it. There we go. I love to go wandering along the mountain track. And as I go, I don't escape, but I'm trapped on my back. Valerie, 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 my knapsack on my back. I love to wander by the stream that dances in the sun. So joyously to calls to me, come join my happy song. Valerie, 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 come join my happy song. I wave my hands to all I meet, and they wave back to me. And blackbirds call so loud and sweet,
from every greenwood tree. The reed, the rock, the reed, the rock, the reed, the rock, from every greenwood tree. I will the silence swing, the never rest at home. And just like me, the mountains sing, as o'er the world they roll. Valerie, 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 as o'er the world they roll. Oh, may I go wandering until the day I die. Oh, may I always up and sing beneath God's clear blue sky. Valerie, 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 beneath God's clear blue sky.
Yay! Everybody round of applause. And I'd like to dedicate this offering to do the work of spirit and truth to the people of Unity Center of Des Moines. And we are grateful. Yay! All right. I'd like to invite everyone to stand up and follow along as Deb Jennings guides us through the universal greeting of peace. And just follow along with the words and hand motions. I offer you peace. I offer you peace. I offer you love. I offer you love. I offer you friendship. I offer you friendship. I see your beauty. I see your beauty. I hear your peace. Feel your feelings. I feel your feelings. My wisdom flows from the higher source. My wisdom flows from the higher source. And I salute that source in you. And I salute that source in you. Let us work together for unity and love. Let us work together for unity and love. And that concludes our service for today. I'd like to invite everyone to make a great big circle around the room. We usually hold hands, but if you don't want to hold hands, that is okay. You can just put your hands over your heart. Okay, good. So we can all connect here. I'll move this up a little bit. And then after we say our closing phrase, I'll need some help with chairs, and then we got snacks in the community room and our class this afternoon. The light of the divine surrounds us. The love of the divine enfolds us. The power of the divine protects us. The presence of the divine watches over us. Wherever we are, the divine is, and all is well. So then we have 2 rows of 6 chairs each in the back. If you rest along the wall, a little bit from the right, so no stacking. All is good. See everyone. See you next time.
Let's go one way.
It's me.